The skies over the Philippines have opened once again. It is a familiar, terrifying rhythm for the millions who call this archipelago home. The winds howl, the rains fall with relentless force, rivers swell, threatening to break their banks and swallow entire communities. People watch the rising water with a fear that has become all too common. They pray for the dikes to hold, for the seawalls to stand firm against the angry sea. But this year, their prayers are laced with a bitter anger. The defenses they were promised, the projects that were supposed to protect them, are failing. The water keeps rising, and with it, a tide of inescapable truth. This is more than just a natural disaster. It is a man-made catastrophe, born from greed and betrayal. For years, the nation was told that billions were being spent to tame the floods. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. spoke of a new era of infrastructure. He promised safety and security for the most vulnerable. The government allocated a massive budget, nearly $2 billion, specifically for flood control projects between 2023 and 2025. This money was meant to be a shield. It was supposed to build higher walls, stronger channels, and more resilient communities. It was a promise of a safer tomorrow, but the shield was an illusion. The promises were hollow. As typhoons lash the country with increasing fury, the reality is now brutally clear. The money, a staggering sum, vanished into a labyrinth of corruption. Finance Secretary Ralph Recto, in a stunning admission before the Senate in September 2025, confirmed the nation's worst fears. He stated that as much as 70% of the entire flood control budget had been lost. It was siphoned off, stolen, and wasted. The funds meant to save lives were instead used to enrich a powerful few, leaving millions defenseless against the storm. The feeling on the ground is one of profound betrayal. Families huddle on rooftops, waiting for rescue boats that may never come. They look out over the murky water that has claimed their homes, their farms, and their livelihoods. They are not just victims of a storm, they are victims of a system that chose profit over people. The flood walls that crumble were not just poorly built, they were monuments to corruption. Each crack, each failure, is a testament to the money that was pocketed by officials and their cronies. The disaster was not inevitable. It was engineered. The scheme was as audacious as it was destructive. The stolen billions were not lost in a single grand heist. Instead, they were bled away through 1,000 different cuts. Investigators have uncovered a sophisticated network of fraud. One of the most common methods was the creation of ghost projects. These were flood control structures that existed only on paper. Contracts were awarded, funds were released, and reports were filed, all for dikes and spillways that were never built. The money simply disappeared into the pockets of corrupt officials and their chosen contractors, leaving entire regions exposed. Where projects were actually constructed, the work was often dangerously substandard. The goal was not to protect citizens, but to maximize kickbacks. Contractors used cheap materials, cut corners on engineering standards, and built structures that were doomed to fail. Seawalls were made with weak concrete that crumbled under the first powerful wave. Drainage canals were too shallow and quickly clogged with debris. These were not genuine attempts at public works. They were, as President Marcos himself later admitted in his July 2025 State of the Nation address, nothing more than rackets and sources of kickbacks. The shoddy results are now tragically visible across the country. This vast web of corruption was controlled by a select, powerful few. A deep investigation revealed a startling pattern. While over 2,000 contractors were officially registered to bid on government projects, a tiny cabal dominated the flood control sector. Just 15 companies secured a massive 1/5 of all contracts awarded between mid-2022 and mid-2025. This small group managed a portfolio worth an incredible 545.6 billion pesos. This monopoly ensured that the system of kickbacks and collusion could operate smoothly, shutting out honest competition and guaranteeing that the profits flowed to the right people. The president's own words confirmed the public's fury. In a speech meant to reassure the nation, he acknowledged the deep-seated corruption within his own government's projects. The admission, however, did not quell the anger. It inflamed it. For many, it was a hollow confession without accountability. People saw a leader admitting that his administration was overseeing a massive racket while their own homes were being washed away. The words were a confirmation that their suffering was a direct result of the government's failure to stop the very corruption it was now admitting to. The trust between the people and their leader was broken. The consequences of this grand-scale theft are measured in lost lives and shattered communities. In villages across Luzon and the Visayas, the story is the same. When the typhoons hit, the promised defenses were a lie. Water surged into areas that were supposed to be safe. Families who had been told they were protected found themselves caught in terrifying flash floods. The economic cost is staggering, with growth in 2023 and 2024 falling short of its potential. But the human cost is immeasurable. Farmers lost their entire harvest. Small business owners saw their shops destroyed. Countless families lost everything they owned. The public anger is now a palpable force across the nation. It simmers in evacuation centers, where thousands are crammed together with little food or clean water. It echoes in the streets during protests, where citizens demand justice and accountability. People are no longer just angry at the weather. They are furious with their leaders. They see the images of luxury cars and sprawling mansions owned by the officials and contractors who grew rich from the flood control funds. They contrast that wealth with their own desperate situation, and the injustice is too much to bear. The social fabric of the nation is fraying under the strain. The scandal has sent shockwaves through the international community as well. The Philippines has long struggled with its reputation for corruption, ranking 115th on the 2023 Corruption Perceptions Index. This new, blatant example of systemic graft has only made things worse. Foreign investors are growing wary. The U.S. State Department has noted that corruption remains a top barrier to doing business in the country. Foreign direct investment fell in 2023, and this scandal threatens to drive even more capital away, crippling the country's long-term economic prospects and punishing ordinary Filipinos for the sins of their leaders. The government's response has been slow, and for many, insufficient. After the scandal broke, President Marcos appointed a new head of public works and initiated Senate investigations. But the public is skeptical. They have seen investigations before that lead to nothing. They have heard promises of reform that are never fulfilled. The bureaucracy and judiciary are widely seen as slow and susceptible to corruption, making it difficult to prosecute powerful figures. The people are tired of words. They are demanding action, arrests, and real, systemic change to a government that has failed them so catastrophically. Despite the despair, the tide may be starting to turn. The sheer scale of the flood control scandal has created a level of public outrage that cannot be easily ignored. The pressure from citizens, combined with scrutiny from the international community, is forcing the government's hand. The Senate investigations are proceeding, with each hearing revealing more damning details about the network of ghost projects and favored contractors. Whistleblowers from within government agencies are beginning to come forward, risking their careers to expose the truth. A national reckoning feels closer than ever before. In response to the crisis, a flurry of new legislation is being pushed forward. Lawmakers, feeling the heat from their constituents, are now championing reforms that were previously stalled for years. A new public-private partnership code passed in late 2023 aims to bring more transparency to large-scale projects. The Ease of Paying Taxes Act, from early 2024, is another step designed to reduce opportunities for bureaucratic corruption. While these laws are not a magic bullet, they signal a growing recognition that the old ways of doing business are no longer sustainable. The international community is also playing a crucial role. Global anti-corruption watchdogs like Transparency International are keeping a close eye on the Philippines, using their 2024 reports to highlight the link between graft and climate vulnerability. Foreign governments and investment bodies are making it clear that future aid and investment will be tied to tangible progress in fighting corruption. This external pressure adds another layer of accountability, making it harder for the powerful elites to simply wait for the storm of public anger to pass. The world is watching. The path forward will be long and difficult. Dismantling a system of corruption that is so deeply embedded in the country's politics and economy is a monumental task. It will require sustained political will, an independent judiciary, and the unwavering vigilance of the Filipino people. But for the first time in a long time, there is a glimmer of hope. The floodwaters exposed a deep sickness within the nation, but they also awakened a powerful demand for change. The fight for more just and transparent Philippines has begun, born from the wreckage of the flood and the fury of a people who refuse to be victims any longer.